Welcome, welcome, and I hope that you're doing well. But if you're not, I know that life is not in linear. It just doesn't go from one side to another. It just doesn't go from one phase to another. Sometimes we go in zigzags, and that is expected. Okay, so I don't want you to beat yourself down and just say life is not happening the way it should be. There is no perfection in life. We are all following days as they go, but we set standards, we change things, and we take the reins, we sit in the driver's seat, and we drive, and we try to go where God wants us to be. So there's a lot that is happening in life, and that's why I started on that note. But welcome to 100 days of becoming. Okay, for those of you that have been with me in this phase and are still with me, it's been an amazing time that we are seeing changes. We are seeing, like, sometimes I sit on those calls and I listen and I'm like, okay, I mean, this is too much. People are achieving, people are writing books. Yeah, they are finishing up their books. People are posting content. They were not content creators. Someone was telling me yesterday, actually on the call, and was like, okay, I mean, I used to see people posting, and I used to think they're wiseacres, but when you told us that, you know what, you need to be able to set your standard, you need to be able to start to know your niche, you need to be able to find your purpose, you need to know your why you are on earth. If you don't know your why, then who are you becoming? That means you have no identity, you don't know where you're headed. But the moment you know some of these are things that are going to help you create the daily foundations. And one of the foundations she decided to do was actually to start posting content. And when she started posting content, this is what happened. The content went viral. And when the content went viral, she decided to do the long form. She used to do the short form. I told her that, you know what, start with 1 or 2 minutes or 3 minutes maximum. Don't do anything more than that. And so she started with the 2 minutes, 3 minutes. And she was like, Coach, you've made this simple for me. For me, every time I heard about content, I would think about the 1 hour, and I would be like, where are the words going to come from? What am I going to talk about? And so all of a sudden, you've made it simpler for me, and now I can do 2 to 3 minutes. And so when she did 2 to 3 minutes, oh my God, it's like everyone was sharing. Everyone, I was like, Coach, what do they want from my content? I'm shooting about normal things, and I'm like, people want normal things. They don't want they don't want anything that comes from Venus, that comes from Mars. They want the normal things that you are going through, and how you can be able to help them and give them solutions. And so now, she started to do the long form. The long form is, I told her, don't do long form of 1 hour, do long form of 15 minutes, 12 minutes, 10 minutes. And so she did that. And she's saying, my God, my mind is being blown. People are sharing the content to the extent that the place where I work, my boss called me and told me, because whatever it is that is my niche and my purpose and what I want to give to people, the solutions I want to give to people, actually are in line with my current work, my current job. So her boss in the marketing sector called her and told her that, you know what, I can see your content is getting quite a lot of following. It is going viral. What I want is whatever you post, I need it to be in line so that it's not out of line with what we do. So for every post, everything that you're going to post, let's go through it so that you post things that are in line and things that are credible and things that are professional. And so she was like, okay, so someone is actually going to go through my content to make sure that it's credible, to make sure that it's professional. But before she set her foot out to do anything, no one was offering to do anything. And right now she's being invited for speaking engagements. She's being invited for all these things. And she's saying, what is happening in my world now? That is not just one person. And I hope that I am going to bring these people one of these days so that I can have sit downs with them and that we can unveil their journey of becoming. So 100 days of becoming, ladies and gentlemen, is going to become a show segment. It's going to become a show segment where we unveil and talk about the things that we have been able to do. I know that's going to be life-changing, it's going to be transformational, it's going to be impactful, and it's going to show you how possible these things are, and that you should not sit back and just lay back. The reason as to why I actually put an amount on the 100 days of becoming, and I put the least amount of all the courses and the programs that I run. 100 days is the most affordable. Yeah, the most affordable. The reason as to why I put that charge was to make sure, and to everyone that is listening right now, I'm giving you a discount. Yeah, I'm giving you a discount. So if you come to my inbox and you tell me that you watched this on TV or you watched it on YouTube, you get a straight discount. Now, I don't want you to scream about it. I don't want you to tell other people about it, but I'm giving you a discount to the amount of 50,000. Okay, to the amount of 50,000. The international community is paying $200. That is 740. The people within that are not in my tribe, in my community, are actually paying 500,000. Okay. Now, this you will tell me, oh, but this is price differentiation. Yes, it is, because we all want different things from the program, and some of us are actually signing up for a customized kind of roadmap, and people want my personal time. When you book this program and you want my personal time, then it is actually expensive. When you come in for the group setting, because we have check-ins every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday night, that means you are committing yourself to setting your standards, setting your goals, and running with it. So I am giving you a discount to the tune of 50,000. Okay, so that means you will only pay 50,000 to get into the program of 100 days of becoming. I'm only saying it on this show. You're not going to hear it anywhere. That means everyone else that will come will go back to the normal price. But for everyone that will listen or watch this show on YouTube and on Spirit TV, you are coming into 100 days of becoming at 50,000 shillings. At 50,000 shillings. And this is a program that you are running until the end of 2025. Okay, so if you don't take that, then I don't know what else you actually need. Never say that, oh, Bahati's programs are expensive. Oh, Bahati's courses are expensive. I've given you the most affordable that I can give you in this time of the year, as we talk about elevating our standards. That's what we're talking about today. I was going to share another testimony from another person, but I will share that another day, because some of these testimonies are quite intriguing. Yesterday we had someone, just you look at my excitement. Yesterday we had someone who was, this person spoke on the call, and she had never spoken. She signed up for this for accelerated mentorship in January, and so she went through the course. She did her assignments, and but she had never spoken on the call. And so yesterday she puts her hand up on the Zoom call, and so I'm like, what happened? So all of a sudden now you can talk. And so she was like, Coach, you can't believe it. You can't believe it. I mean, I've been able to do my content, to post my content. I've been able to host roundtables. I've been able to, and I'm like, oh my God. Yeah, as a mentor, I've learned to give people time. I've learned that not all people break even at the same time. It's possible someone will come, the first teaching of the mentorship, and they will shoot and they will do things and they will run. But some people will take some time, and that is my duty as a mentor, to pray over them, to love on them, to be patient with them, because in their due time, they are going to actually blossom and do the things that they actually ought to do. So if you need to get into accelerated mentorship, the number is on your screen. Okay, if you need to get into 100 days of becoming, claim your discounted offer. Just write 100 days, 50,000. 100 days, 50,000. I will know what to do. My team will know that this is, you are claiming your voucher of 50,000 for 100 days. And that is the best that we can do for you. We want to end the year in power. We want to finish strong. So we want to be able to elevate our standards this time of the year to make sure that we actually get to where we actually want to get. Okay. So let's talk about lifting our standards, or raising our standards, so we can become. We are on the journey of becoming, ladies and gentlemen. We are on the journey of becoming our best versions. We are on the journey of becoming who God created us to be. We are on the journey of living abundant lives, living in obedience, serving God's people, and living abundant lives. We are on the journey where we are not just settling for sinking, for survival, but we are leveling up to the level of thriving and flourishing, because that is what God has set. That is the standard that God has set. Okay, so when you hear the word standard, because so many of us, when we hear the word standard, we have so many meanings when it comes to standards, but standards are not goals. Okay, standards are not goals. Some of us will think, oh, I'm going to set my standards. So you set your standards like you're setting your goals. No. Your standards are not your maximum. Your standards are they are your flow. They are the minimum that you accept, that you allow, that you settle for in your life. The moment you say, this is not going to happen again, that means you want to set a higher standard. Now, it does not just happen with words. We do not raise our standards with words. We raise our standards with actions, okay? Because we do not rise, okay, to the level, we fall to the level of our standards, because our standards are the bare minimum, the flow. It is not the ceiling, it is the flow. Okay, so what have you accepted in your life? Because so many of us, we have accepted the kind of life that has been handed down to us. From the baby boomers, from Generation X, from the millennials, from the Gen Zs, from the, as in, we are just accepting anything that has been handed to us. We're accepting the sorrow, we're accepting the lack, we're accepting the bad relationships, we're accepting the bad health, we're accepting, like, we are just settling for what has already, for standards that have already been set. And guess what? The people that set the standards were not intentional to set the standards that would get them to the life that they wanted. They also settled for the standards that were handed over to them. So this is what's happening. We are inheriting standards and we are not editing them. We are not auditing our lives. We are not taking inventory, and we are not deciding the kind of lives that we want to live. And that is the difference between people that are succeeding and people that are remaining stuck. And I hope that you are one of those that wants so bad to succeed, that wants, that success is like the air you breathe. You're like, you want it so bad. You are tired of average. You are tired of living a life without systems. You are tired of living life without formulating habits that you walk by. Like, you don't have any signature anything. It's like you're just living life on randomness. You eat when you can, when food is available. You dress whichever way you want. You do anything, the way you treat the people in your life, whatever it is, the kind of goals that you have in your life. And let me tell you, it's high time. It's high time you actually took a full audit of your life. Because when you raise your standards, you raise your results. When you raise your standards, you raise your results. When you elevate your standards, you completely elevate your life. There's so many of us in our lives right now as I speak. You are at a crossroad, okay? And as I speak, you can actually sense it. You have sensed it for a very long time, but you just don't know what to do. You don't know where to start. And you're not looking for any ways of how to start, but you're feeling the dissatisfaction in your life. You're like, you know what? Enough. I've earned this kind of money for a long time, and I don't think this is where. So you're dissatisfied about your money, you're dissatisfied about your weight, you're dissatisfied about your life, you're dissatisfied about your marriage, you're dissatisfied, as in there are so many things, like you are heaping one thing after another, and so now it becomes overwhelming. When it becomes overwhelming, then your systems start to shut down. Now, as I speak, so many of you, your systems have started to shut down. Why do the systems shut down? It's because your brain is trying to preserve you. It is saying, he has to live to see another day. She has to live to see another day. So if this is causing stress, and this is causing, because one way our lives shut down is actually by hitting the depression zones. When you hit the depression zones, and you start isolating, and you start getting insomnia, you can't sleep, and you can't eat, and you as in, your brain is starting to shut down. It is telling you, just exist, because existing is not painful. Yeah, it is not intentional. It is not challenging. It is not stretching. It is comfort. Yeah, so fall back into comfort and just look on and see where life takes you on. There are so many of us as employers. If you're not careful, you have zombies that are moving, zombies that are in their comfort zone, whose brains have shut down, whose bodies have shut down, and they're in a workplace, just loitering, walking around, busybodies. There is no work going. Even when you set standards, nothing is happening. Even when you set goals, nothing is happening. Even when you sit in meetings, nothing is happening. Actually, you're sitting in meetings and you're repeating the meetings, and the meetings are starting to look so monotonous and sound so monotonous, and nothing is shifting. Your money is not shifting. Your goals are not, nothing is actually shifting. Now, just imagine you are the founder and you are the person that is the founder or the business leader that is employing or that is leading such a team. But let's flip the page. If you are the one that is the zombie that is walking around, your systems have shut down because you just don't know. You don't know what is happening. You are overwhelmed. There are so many things to do. But again, you don't know where to start. So many of us are in chapters of our lives where we badly need reinvention, where we badly need to redefine our callings, our purpose, our life mission, our values, where we need to redefine what success looks to us, where we need to redefine what a good relationship looks to us, a good marriage looks to us, where we need to redefine everything. And if you are in such a moment, I hope that you can be able to find a starting place. Okay, a starting place, whether in the accelerated mentorship. If accelerated mentorship is deep for you, then you can start in the 100 days of becoming, to reinvent your life. That means your life had gone off course, and now you want to be able to redefine, to reinvent, so you can be able to get away from the detours and come back to where you are supposed to be and start the journey and run and walk and crawl, but heading to the right direction. So when I talk about standards, it is one way of us reinventing. It is one way of us auditing our lives. It is one way of us redefining what our flow is going to be, what our bare minimum is going to be, what we can tolerate and what we can't tolerate. Okay? That means you're establishing a baseline, a foundation for what your life is going to look like. And so, if you are on the journey of becoming, you want to become something elegant, something beautiful, something amazing, something people look at and admire, something that is inspiring, something that is significant. That is what you want to become. So you don't become that minus setting the foundation. Minus saying, you know what, I'm done with the excuses. I am done with the excuses. And let's just go because so many of us are just tolerating the lives that we have. Okay, so that means mediocrity is going to become, I usually love to paint the pain. If you don't set the standards, or if you're not just setting the standards, some of you have set standards before, but time and again we need to raise the standards, and that is what we are talking about. So if you do not raise the standards, that means you tolerate what you should confront instead of, confronting it, editing it, changing it, you're tolerating it. And so that means mediocrity is going to become a normal. It's going to become a baseline. It's going to become the foundation on which you build everything. So I told you, don't get me started when it comes to average life, because when you start the loop of average life, everything in your life becomes average. I know some of you have hated me when I talk about the average loop and the cycle of average, but the cycle of average will never change. The cycle of mediocrity will never change. The cycle of excuses will never change. It will never change. It will always be the same. Because we attract who we are. So if we attract who we are, that means if you are average, everything you're going to attract is going to be average. As in, even your selection, your test is going to be average. Yeah, your test. Your test in clothes, your test in food, your test if you're a lady, your test in men is going to be average. If you're a man, your test in women is going to be average. Yeah. So even average people are the ones that are going to be attracted to you. Even your test in jobs, you'll be like, if it's the one that's available, it's okay, I can do that. If it's the one available, that means you can't fight, you can't go an extra mile, you can't raise your standard for the kind of thing that you want. So everything about you becomes, the house that you're going to stay in is going to be average. Why? Because you attract average money. So you have average money. So you live in an average house, have an average girlfriend, or have an average boyfriend. Yes. Dress averagely, go to, as in everything you do is average. Have an average job. Yeah. Have an average wedding. Yes. Go to an average honeymoon. Go, as in everything is going to be average after average after average. And guess what? The pain that I have is you will pass on the inheritance, because if the Bible says that a good man leaves inheritance for his children's children, that means you are passing a legacy of average life to your children, because who they see you, how they see you live is how they're going to be like, I mean, that's the best way to live. If our dad lived like that, if our mother lived like that. And it doesn't take money for you to raise your standards. No, it does not take money for you to raise your standards. It doesn't. Firsthand, I know it doesn't take money to raise your standard. No. I know for so long, my mother lived an average life, but when she decided, no more, I am not. Yeah, I'm taking the bulls by the horn. I'm sitting in the driver's seat. I'm going to decide what kind of education my children attain. I am going to decide. No one is going to decide for me, oh, because there is no money and because there is no, and because. She decided and said, no, none of my children will go hungry. None of my children. So whether I have to borrow, whether I have to do what, I am going to do everything in my power as a woman to make sure that my children eat something. It might not be the best, but they will eat something. They will have clothes on their back. They will go to school. And not just school, but they will finish school. Even when others were saying, oh, but they are grown up, they can actually get married so that they can help you and stuff like that. I think in my mother's mind, and I'm going to sit down with her one of these days on this very show. I'm starting to get ideas, guys. I'm going to sit and ask her what was in her mind. What was in her mind? But one thing I know, she's a very wise woman. And I know what she's going to tell me. You know, when you've stayed with your mother for a very long time, you will know. I know what she's going to tell me. I know she's going to tell me. And when she comes here and says it, I want you to remind me about this moment. Because I know she's going to tell me that I knew that if you remained an average, whether in education or your kind of life, you would still attract the average kind of men. If you have followed my story, you will know I have ran from I don't know how many men, I cannot count them. Yeah, but according to them, they thought they had attained a certain standard. And I was the girl that was coming from a poor family. And so they saw it fit to extend a favor. And in my mind, I was like, no man is extending a favor to me. No. I am going to have to work with my two hands, with my brain. No one is doing me a favor, marrying me and taking care of me. Because when someone is doing you a favor, marrying you and taking care of you, they will get tired of you. And so what happens when they get tired of you? They dump you like a hot potato. And then what happens? Because you do not have any, you are average and you've accepted average and you've accepted favors. So you go from accepting to settling to settling. And I was like, that is not my life. As in, God, there is a way God saved me. I didn't accept that. I was like, you know what? Even if I will take long, let it be. Whatever is going to happen in my life, I'm just not going to settle for anything. I am not going. If I feel, let me tell you, when you're settling, you know it that you're settling. Yeah. When you're settling, you know it that you're settling. So in the moments where I was tempted to settle, and there were many, believe me, in the moments where I was tempted to settle, I knew it that I was settling. And my brain couldn't have it. My brain couldn't have it. And I don't think my destiny couldn't have it. My God could not let me. Because God had marked me for greatness, and God has marked us for greatness. But He has given us the choice that the power of death and life is in our hands. So when we choose life, that is the kind of life that we are going to get. And when we choose death, we die. I'm saying all this to stir you up, that there's something you can do. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how old you are. It just doesn't matter. You could be 50, you could be 60 for all you could be 70, watching this and listening to this. And I will tell you, it can still be your time to raise your standards and set the floor and set the foundation, set the baseline for what you can accept in your life and say, no, this is not going to happen in my life. So I wanted to paint the pains, but I think I will paint the pains some other day, because I know our time will go. Or yeah, I can see some of you and saying, well, you tell us. Yeah. But just to finish up my mother's story, I bet she looked at me and she thought, if I don't fight for her life right now, who will? That means she would have accepted anything that would have come in my life. And that means I would have accepted. That means we both have accepted. And so whatever comes, then we just have to settle with that. I know of you parents, yeah, you're watching this and you have settled about your child's life, and you are a child, but you've gotten to an age where you understand, and you have also compromised and settled for your life. Let me tell you, it is very, very, very painful to settle, because you will blame. You have no one else to blame. You're only blaming you. So when I got to that point and I was like, you know what? I don't want to blame myself for the rest of my life for the decisions that I have made. That means I have a chance to change these decisions. So since I have a chance to change these decisions, I'm going to change them. It doesn't matter what people will say. It doesn't matter. Let me tell you, people have said so many things. People have said so many things. I remember one of the ladies that that I had selected to be like my maids of honor, not even my maids of honor, but my matron, actually, my matron. And so when I flipped and changed my mind about the decision to get married at that point, she said, you're on your own from now on. And let me tell you, people will look at you settling and they will be happy that you're settling. Don't get me started, because if I feel like changing from the teaching to the preaching. Yeah. People will look at you settling. Yeah. And they will clap their hands and they will be thankful that you are settling, because some people don't want you to be better than them. They don't want you to go any higher. They don't want you to have any better. So who are you? If we are suffering, you should be suffering. If we are settling, then you should be settling. You shouldn't be the wiseacre that thinks you are higher than anyone, that you're better than anyone, so you shouldn't be settling. People will look at you settling and they will be like, let's cross our fingers as we see them sinking into the sand. But let me tell you, praise be to God. Praise be to God, who will never see us perish. He will never see us perish. He will come to our rescue. He will flip our minds. He will make us dream. He will create ways of escape. He will create ways of escape from the snares of the enemy. He will create the ways of escape. But let me tell you, it is so painful for God to create a way of escape for a foolish person. I have said it. I have said it. It is so painful. Have you ever created a way of escape for a foolish person? They will never even see the door. They will never even want to make the decision because they will be stuck in a place of complacency. They will be stuck in a place of people pleasing. They will be stuck in a place of comfort. They will be stuck in a place of stuck in their lives. And so even when you open a door and you point at it and you tell them how quickly they should escape, they will be sluggish. They will move. They will drag their feet. They will move however they want. Why? Foolishness. They say a foolish woman tears her home with her own hands. And so does a foolish man. When you create a way of escape for a wise person, you don't need to say it twice. All you need is, don't even open the full door. Just open a little bit. Let them see that, there is a gap. And they will jump. They will not walk. No, they will jump. They will skip. They will fly. They will swing into action. So every time God has opened a door of escape for me, hey, the way I swung into action, like no one saw it coming. No one saw it coming. As in, I think my family, my mother is one of those people that gave up, like in a good way, gave up. I was like, Hilda's decisions, well, she told me, whatever you decide as my daughter, I am backing you up. Number one, I trust that you have your own best interest at heart. I know that I have taught you God and you know God and you trust God and you fear God. And I know that you will not do anything to jeopardize you, to jeopardize your family, or jeopardize. So whatever decision you're making, this is not working. You're getting out, you're backing out. We are backing out together. So I want you to be very careful. Do not just tolerate. Actually, the reason as to why I've said all those things is us tolerating. Yeah? And some of us, because we haven't grown strong inside, we are shrinking around other people. We are like doing them a favor for us to be small, yeah? For us to dim our light. And that is not a standard. That means you are on default settings. Whatever happens is whatever happens. So you are shrinking yourself so that you can fit in certain boxes and certain... No one told us. No, God did not tell us that we have to fit in certain scenarios. No. Actually, sometimes God applauds you when you are a misfit. Yeah, because he created you. You are a special edition. You are a unique being. And what ears and what eyes have not seen is what he has prepared for you. That means he doesn't want you to just fit into old molds of what other people have orchestrated and just accept that. Okay, let's move on from painting a picture of what the pain looks like of not setting or raising our standards, because I will not stop. All right. I just want us to just get into what can we do to raise our standards, because I know that that is your question. What can we do to raise our standards? Number one, I will say this, and I want you to hear me so well. Get clear on what God says about you. Get clear on what God says about you. I don't mind about your denomination. No, I don't mind. God, what God says about you. If he says that you are the head and you're not the tail, you will lend to the nations and you will not borrow. If he says that you are the apple of his eye, yeah, whatever he says, I want you to be able to get so clear about what God says about you. Because if our identity is lost, that means it's very hard for us to even raise the standards. We're going to remain at where things have been all our lives, whatever has been handed down to us, because that is what we believe, that is what we have seen, and that is what we know, and that is what is comfortable, and that is what we attract, and that is where we are, and then that is where we die. But the moment you're like, wait a minute, Wait a minute. He says I'm a God together with him. He says I'm a co-creator with God. He says that he knew me before the foundations of the earth were set together, and before my life my parts were woven together in the dark, in the secret places, that he orchestrated, he predestined. That means I'm so important to God. I'm not just a by the way. No, I am not just a by the way. So I'm going to raise my standards to meet the standards of God, the one that he has set for me, the kind of identity that, as in who I am in him. So the moment I change the knob and I'm like, no, I have taken long here, I've been suffering here. You remember the prodigal son? Yeah? As in, he's eating with the swine. Yeah, he's feeding them, but eating their food as well. And then one day it dawns on him. I don't know why it took long, but it dawned on him. And I was like, wait a minute. Wait. My father's servants are feeding better than me. They are eating better than me. They are servants. They are my father's workers. Yes, I could have spoiled my chance as a son by taking my inheritance and walking away and spoiling it in the far lands. But I can actually walk into my father's compound and request to be one of his servants, and I will eat and sleep better than I am eating and sleeping here. It dawned on him. So sometimes it just we have to get clear. It has to dawn on us. How does it dawn on us? Faith comes by hearing, and hearing by the word of God, as in listen to the word of God. As you are watching this, as you're listening to this, and it dawns on you that I am called, that it dawns on you that I have a purpose, Why am I on earth? It dawns on you that your fulfillment is wrapped up in your contribution. And you're like, I've been eating and consuming. How can I contribute? What values do I have? It dawns on you. So get clear. Okay, that is number one. Secondly, identify areas where your standards need to be lifted, where they need to be raised. And you're like, you know what? I set this standard, maybe some of us set standards by default. Some of us accept standards. Yeah? And so you find someone, she's 24 years old, she's dressing like a 60-year-old, like a 50-year-old. And because that is what she has seen around her community, and she's just accepting that. So if you see, when we were setting goals and intentions for 100 days of becoming, I remember one of us, and that was Lavender. She set an intention and she was like, you know what? I just need to change the way I dress. I need to change the way. I need to elevate it. I need to lift it. I need to raise it. Because if people are going to address me according to how I am dressed, that means I've been cheating on myself, because I've been dressing, and I'm not saying that this was Lavender, but some of us dress like vagabonds. Some of us dress like street people. Some of us dress like to whoever it may concern. No, it should be your primary concern how you look. So now, get clear, understand, identify where the standards need to be lifted. Is it relationships? Is it career? Is it your spiritual disciplines? If your standards are too low, it's not that your goals are unattainable, it's that the foundation isn't firm. Your foundation isn't firm. So if you decide, and when Lavender said she wants to change her wardrobe, I remember we created, she started sending me pictures. I told her, okay, so what are you elevating to? She had a picture in her mind. So she Googled some of those pictures. We talked about the capsule wardrobe. And so she started choosing the colors. These are the colors that I want. I want these colors to be the more dominant in my wardrobe. And I want to be able to put on like this and this. And then then soon, for every event she has gone to, she has sent me a picture and she's like, oh gosh, Bahati, I am so happy because now I'm very intentional about what I put on. I just don't slap on anything and then slap on anything. Some of us, oh my God, I'm giving you most, but I've started by the most crucial, okay? The things that you should be able to do. So secondly, identify. Number one, get clear on what God says about you. Get clear about the promises of God. Get clear about who you are, your identity in God. Get clear, because that is going to be the baseline. The moment you have set that as the baseline, then you have a stronger foundation. And that means that you raising your values is going to be quite automatic, okay? In every season of your life, the more you elevate, the more you understand, the more you know, the more exposed you are to who you are in God and your identity, you're going to become better. So identify the areas. And number three, act intentionally. Intentionally. You can't elevate any area of your life until you shift your standards. You can't, because some of us, we've wanted to, oh, I want to elevate my finances. Yeah, you want to elevate your finances. That means your standard has to change. Yes, your standards have to shift. In the time where I wanted to elevate, and I keep elevating and I keep elevating. I'm even in the season right now, currently, where I'm talking to you. The reason as to why I'm so passionate about this is because I'm not just talking to you, I'm talking to me. I'm in the process of reinvention. I'm in the process of elevating and shifting my standards. Now, so if I'm shifting my standards, why aren't you shifting your standards? Because everyone shifts their standards. Everyone. We are not created to be the same yesterday, today, and forever. Let's leave that for Jesus. Let's leave that for God. Okay? We are human beings that must be growing, not just in body, because your body growth is automatic, but your growth, your personal growth, is not automatic. You have to desire it. You have to want it. You have to be intentional about it. Okay? So, you have to be able to be intentional about setting, elevating any standards of your life. So when I wanted to elevate back then, even now, I'm in the process. So I usually redefine and just say, you know what, I am going to be my bare minimum. This is what I should have, let me say, on my emergency fund. This is what I should have on my savings. This is what I cannot go. And I know there's a conversation I had recently. A lady was talking to another lady, and I was like, you know what? I feel so bad when my account goes below. I think this lady was referring to 2 million. I was like, when my account goes below 2 million, I feel so bad. And so the other lady was so serious. I was like, I can never let my account go below, I think she struck around 15 or 20 million. I can never let my savings go below 20 million. And like, she was so serious about it. And she, even this other woman was like, oh, yeah, I mean, you know, you're that serious, but again, you're also loud. And so you see, she was stating her standard, like that is the bare minimum. That is the best line. She cannot go below that. And she was saying with a lot of, a lot of energy. So I know that you also have a standard. You have set a standard. Some of us keep self-sabotaging, and we will get to that, because where standards are not firm, it is a ground for self-sabotage. So you keep self-sabotaging. You keep undoing your decisions. So now you have to be very intentional to know that, respect, loyalty, friendship, acceptance. These are the bare minimum in a relationship and a marriage. These are the foundational principles. And if one of them is tampered with, there's something wrong with this relationship. And I'm not settling for that. I cannot say, oh, there is acceptance, but there is loyalty, but there is disrespect. What is that? The foundation has been cracked. And I've given these 5 pillars of a marriage and a relationship, and I've been screaming about them. The friendship, respect, acceptance, loyalty. Yeah? As in the bare minimum. The bare minimum. Someone has to be loyal to you. Someone has to be your friend. Someone has to respect you. Someone has to fully accept you. Yeah? Someone has to be content with you. So now, if you set a foundation like that of respect, loyalty, friendship, acceptance, that means you're saying, my relationship cannot go below this. Yeah, if it goes below this, then there's a problem. That means I must confront it. I'm not going to just accept it so that I live a life of mediocrity. So many of us are living in mediocre relationships, mediocre marriages, mediocre jobs, mediocre, like everything, mediocrity, 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 and it has become normal. Now it has become your comfort. That is why you've become a money pincher. You are spreading coins and you are spreading, and guys, believe me, I am not here to mock anyone. I am not mocking anyone. I'm telling you, there's something better. There is the full abundance that God talks about when he says that I came that you will have life and life in its abundance. That is not life of money pinching. That is not life of accepting any kinds of standards. No, that is not the kind of life. Abundance has to be wholesome in relationships, in marriage, in your children, as in you have to live a life of abundance, but you have to desire it, you have to want it, and you have to be able to be intentional about it. Okay? So the first things we've talked about is understand, get clear of who God calls you, okay? Get clear of your position in God, okay? And then understand and identify the areas that need the shift, and then be very, very intentional. There's a statement that we usually say, yeah? Get serious. Oh, I'm getting serious about my life. I see it all the time. I hear it all the time, especially when people want to change their lives. They're tired of one level of their lives. They're tired of that kind of money. They're tired of that kind of whatever it is that they are tired. And they're like, you know what? I need to get serious. I know you have told yourself that statement. Now, that is our fourth point. Get serious. Get serious with your life. No change happens until you draw the line. No change happens until you draw the line. Yeah? That, you know what? This is it. I need to get serious. And sometimes by the time we say we need to get serious is we have gotten to a bad situation. We have slipped into the comfort. We have slipped into, as in it's just like you are just sliding into a place of complacency. You are sliding into a place of obesity. You are sliding into a place and you're like, you know what? I need to get serious. I need to get serious. Just when you run out of finances and then you start borrowing, you start calling people and no one is coming through and you're like, you know what? I need to get serious. I need to get my act together. I need to get my act together. So I need you to get serious. Yes. How we raise our standards, how we lift our standards, how we change our standards is we get serious. Getting serious means you are eliminating anything else and you're saying, you know what, I want to be focused on this particular thing. I want to be focused on this weight thing. I want to be focused on my family. I want to be focused on my health. Some of us, when we get the bad news or we are diagnosed with something, that is when you're like, you know what, I need to get serious about what I eat. I need to get serious about my health. I need to get serious. As in when a shaking comes at your job, that is when you're like, I need to get serious about my job. I need to get serious. So until when are we going to wait for circumstances to determine how serious we get? Sometimes we just need to set the flow and we're like, you know what? If I'm going from glory to glory, I might as well foresee the glory. I might as well foresee the glory. And you're like, no, you know what? This is the kind of money I've been earning and I want to earn this kind of money. I want to earn this kind of money. So that means I need to get serious about certain things in my life. Get serious. Because by the time you get serious, it's because you say to yourself, I need to get serious. It's because you know you've been joking about your life. Yeah. You've been coasting. You've been in the comfort zone. You've not been stretching. You're not challenging yourself. You're not doing things that you've never done before. You've been doing the same things again and again. And some of us are mad that we expect different results. You're saving the same kind of money, but you want that money to grow in whichever you've not been investing. And as in, how do you expect things to happen? Some of us expect magic to happen. And sometimes we want God to be a magician. He's a miracle worker. But I will tell you this. Miracles are not going to just happen out of the blue that, oh, God is going to rain money on you. No. He says, I will bless the works of your hands. So if you get serious about the works of your hands, the Bible talks about, look at the ants. Look at the ants. They don't have a governor. They don't have a ruler. As in, they don't have your brain, for God's sake. They don't have your brain. They don't have the fully functioning capacities like you have. But they store food for winter. And it goes ahead to say, you sluggard. And it says that poverty is going to pounce on you like a vagabond. Some of us, we wait until poverty pounces on us. We wait. Instead of getting serious. By the time the Bible says, learn something from the ants, they are tiny, they are small. I would have said brainless, but I think they have a bit of brain matter. Yeah. Because if they can know that, by the way, there's a time I even sang for you that song that the grasshopper was singing with his violin as the ants were busy gathering food, and the ants were passing by and telling the grasshopper that, that it's not going to be hot forever. It's not going to be summer forever. Winter is coming. We are gathering food. And meanwhile, the grasshopper was, just singing and saying, what, let me just have fun, under the sun. Let me just have fun. Let me just bask in the glory, while you ants are working and termites, and you're lifting things and carrying things and preparing whatever it is. God knows what you're preparing. I'm just going to be here with my violin, and I'm going to sing and entertain people, and I'm just, going to have fun. How many of us, we have had the fun of our lives, and sometimes it's not even fun, it ceases to be fun. Meanwhile, the ants are taking the food, and after that, winter comes. It is too cold, there is no food anywhere, and that is when the grasshopper stands up. And now it is ashamed. Yeah, it is ashamed to go and knock at the door of the ants. Yeah, and it goes to knock at the door. It is shivering, and the ants are opening. I know some of you have watched your cartoons with your children. Yeah, I watch cartoons with my children, and I learn a lot through cartoons. So when I see that particular story, the ants definitely had mercy on the grasshopper, and they brought the grasshopper in, gave the grasshopper a bowl of hot soup and stuff like that. But the thing is, it's possible that was it. They were like, you know what, you can only stay here one day because we can't accommodate you. We only have food that is enough for us. Food that is enough for us. How many people have you called and some have not picked? And, some have said, no, they cannot help. Some have not, but still, you did not turn around to wake up and say, I need to get serious about my life. I need to get serious about my job. I need to get serious about my finances. I need to get serious about my relationship. I need to get serious about my children. I need to, whatever it is that you need to get serious, get serious. Okay, get serious. I bet this is going to be in a series form because it's taking us quite some time. Okay, and then after you get serious, okay, some of us, we just stop at saying, oh, I need to get serious, I need to get serious, and it becomes like a talk of the town, but you never actually get serious. And that is so painful, so painful. That means your brain has seen the warning signs. Your brain has seen that you're headed for doom. Your brain has seen that your marriage is headed for a breakup, or your relationship is headed for a breakup, or your finances are actually, everything, you are combing through your last savings, and so you're not going to be able to self-sustain anymore. But there is a way. You're just lazy. You're just lazy I don't know, for whatever reason, for no reason. I told you the reasons as people were giving me 100 days of becoming. And because for some reason I never get to doing it. For some reason I promised myself to get serious. For some reason I promised myself to start saving. For some reason I promised myself to do this, but for some reason I never get around to doing it. You wait until you say, for some reason I ended up in the worst of the places. You will not be saying for some reason. You can only say it when, you're still dilly-dallying. But there is a time where you'll not be able to say it, okay? And then, let's go. I think that should have been number 4. Number 5, okay? Have a non-negotiable schedule. Structure creates freedom and progress. Non-negotiable schedule. I've told the people that are writing books, and I'm like, you know what? Create a schedule and say, on this day and on this day, I am going to do this. For the people that create content, yes, because it's like today's currency. Yeah, it's today's thing. When we say that content is the queen, yeah, or is the king, as in, I tell them, batch your content. Yeah, create content so that you have content for 7 days or for 14 days. And so if you have a schedule and you're like, on Monday, I'm going to prepare myself about the content. On Tuesday, I'm going to shoot the content. On Wednesday, I'm going to edit the content and be able to capture it and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden, I have content for the next 7 days or for the next 14 days. So now I have a caption, I have a video for each day, or I have a picture for each day. That means I am not suffering. I have gone ahead and done. I have scheduled myself so things are not happening by surprise. Schedule the time you sleep. Schedule the time you work out. Schedule the time you pray. Schedule the time, as in your working time. Schedule what is your business looking like? What is your money looking like? As in, schedule. Have a non-negotiable schedule, because structure is going to create a lot of freedom. And that is, one way of lifting your standard is by having a non-negotiable schedule. So when I say that on my days, as in the reason as to why when most of you, when you get in touch with me and you want to meet me, you want a session, you're inviting me for a speaking engagement, whatever it is that you're doing, I will tell you I'm checking with my schedule, or I will tell you I'm checking with my PA, or I will tell you I'm checking with my team, it's because I have a schedule in place. I have a team that I work with. This schedule is non-negotiable. So if I need to fix you in my schedule, I should be able to look at my calendar and know that on Tuesday I am booked, or I'm shooting, or I am whatever it is that I'm doing, or I have a session or whatever. So I know that I already have my schedule in place for the next 6 months, and so I can look out for the places that are not booked, and that is when I will suggest that, okay, I have a Tuesday and I have a Thursday at 3 p.m. Does that work for you? And then we can set a schedule, or we can set a session, or we can set a speaking engagement. Yeah, but I found that having a non-negotiable schedule, it helps me to structure my day. It gives me freedom, and it gives me progress, and it gets me to do what I ought to do when I ought to do it. Some of us, we don't have that. Yeah. As in, whenever something, you just fall into things, you fall into programs, as in, you don't have any sense of order. You're not following anything at all. And that's not a good place to live, okay? So I need you to be able to go ahead and look into that. And then make sure that you get mentors, get coaches, okay? And get mentors who refuse to let you settle, because they are also not settled. I remember when we were graduating accelerated mentorship, that is in June. It was actually the class president. She said, my God, your level of obedience to God That when he tells you to do something, you do it without announcing it, without preparing for it, without doing a lot of talking for it, without, as in that level. I mean, because I think in that same week I had dropped an app, the Bahati app, which is soon rolling out, and you will have, I will have the pleasure of having you on the app and, going through everything that we are creating so many memories together. But I had dropped the app, and so I was testing the app, and I got their email addresses for the testing season of the app. And so they were like, oh my God, because when they went to the app, and it was mind blowing, and the things that they saw. And then all of a sudden, boom, I start at the 100 days of becoming. And they're like, but coach, you've not said this before. You did not pre-announce it 6 months ago, 2 months ago, and stuff like that. And all of a sudden you have people signing up, and you're already doing it, and it's happening every day. You are checking in, and the results are showing, and people are getting results. And they're like, how do you do this? So it also depends on the kind of mentor that you are getting. If you get a mentor who refuses you to settle but is settling, there is a problem. You have to get a mentor that also refuses to settle and that will not allow you to settle as well. Mentors are everywhere. We're not going to do things alone. Sometimes you need someone to look at your scenario from outside inside, and so they can be able, because when you are the one that is inside, you are used to these things, so you don't see them. There's so many people I've pointed out, and I'm like, you know what? What you have been doing as a job can translate into your purpose. And because you've been doing it for a long time, that means you know the ins and the outs and the pros and the cons and everything. And you can be able. And for them, they wanted to do something else that would have been totally out of place. But you're highlighting something that they already have. Sometimes you're even highlighting, and you don't need A, B, C, and D. You already have this. Use this. And so they're like, okay, coach, I had not even noticed that, And you're like, you don't need to. Start with the community that you have, let it grow and stuff like that. Why? Because you decided to work with a mentor. Mentorship collapses time. Something that I've been able to do, or what I've been able to achieve in 15 years, 18 years, and 20 years of me being in this industry, is something that you can achieve in 6 months or less than a year, if we run at the speed that we set. Why? Because mentorship collapses time. If there's anything I would tell anyone, as in, find someone, and do not go to a mentor with whom you would not trade places. It has to be a person that is living the kind of life that you want to live. And it's not just a spoken kind of life, because people know how to start restaurants with rice, with one grain of rice, and they will say a lot. And I know people have talked about motivational speakers, and I know sometimes it has made me feel bad, but they have a reason as to why they say it. Because some motivational speakers, their life as far as east is from the west is what they say and what they do and the kind of lives they live. They don't live any kind, their life is not inspiring. If you get closer to them, their life is not inspiring at all. They live miserable, miserable lives. They live from hand to mouth. They are, it's just a mess. But they have mastered the art of speech and communication. So when they are speaking, they will speak big things and mega things, and you will start admiring them. From a distance, you're admiring them. But when you come closer to them, their lives are totally different. That is not our life worth living. It is not a life worth living. Actually, it's better for you to be able to live life according to God's word, to his abundance, even if you're not saying anything about it. For some of the things, we don't need to blow. We don't need to blow our trumpets. Oh, this is what I have. This is what I do. This is what I wear. This is what I wear. I love a quiet life. By the way, if it was not my calling and my purpose to mentor and to hold people's hands, I don't think people would have even known anything that is happening in my life. Not even my children, not even my husband, not even anything. But it so happened that my life is a public life. And I have nothing to do about it. I can't just withdraw from it, because this is where my contribution is. This is where my platform for contribution is. And I will say my contribution is where so many people have not committed suicide because they have watched these videos, because they have come to the seminars, because they have come to the conferences, because they have read my books, because they have watched my shows. And I'm like, okay, so I'm an open episode for everyone to be able to read. But believe me, there's still so many things that people don't know about my life. So many things that you don't know about my life. So I decide what I say and what I do not say. Yeah. So I need you to be able to find mentors, get mentors who refuse you to sort of borrow their vision until you can expand yours, until you can grow, until you can. Coach Fifi usually puts it so well. She usually, when she spent so much time with me, and she would tell people, you don't need to reinvent the wheel. As in, if you have a mentor, and it's okay, copy your mentor until you can get your own. Because it gets you into the starting, it gets you into the doing, it gets you into the momentum until you can expand and start doing your own. Okay? So guys, I told you that this is going to be in a series. I will have to do this again because raising our standards, that is not something that we can just sit in just this one podcast or this one show and just exhaustively handle it. I know that we will come back to this, but believe me, you need to elevate your standards. You need to elevate your standards. Standards are not what you hope to become. They are what you accept, no less than. If you don't raise them, then life will never raise. If you don't elevate, your life will never elevate. And I told you, so many of us, actually 99.9 of us, are in a place of transition. We're in a place of reinvention. We're in a place where we need an elevation. We're in a place where we are praying to God for the next level. I know some of you are going to come into my inbox and tell me, you know what? I mean, I don't know how you knew this, but I'm in that place where I long for the next level. You've been praying for this. So if you've been praying for it, raise your standard and see God do wonders in your life. Raise your bare minimum, the foundation, raise it, okay? Elevate it and see how God elevates you as well. You feel it, you know it, it is your time for the next level, it is your time for the next dimension. You don't know how to do it. I told you, you can start with the 100 days of becoming. And remember, I've given you the biggest discount this year I can ever give. I've given you the biggest discount. So get in. Just type in WhatsApp on WhatsApp and say 100 days 50,000. 100 days 50,000. That is the code. Then I will know what to do. And I just want us to end the year strong. I want us to be more intentional. I want you to have your eyes laser focused on what you are creating, the kind of life that you're creating, who you want to become, so that it will be easy for you to raise the standards, okay, and to elevate these standards. But I'm praying over you, and I know that by God's grace, we are going to highlight those areas, we're going to identify them, and we're going to elevate our standards.